Statistical, mathematical fact
never has been down.
has broken every single record. There is no asset that has come close.
It's the only thing in the industry that was not touched, that was not hacked, and it never fails doing what it promised in 2009. It's never
What's
failed.
the best performing asset the world has ever seen? And you'll find out that it's
Welcome.
Bitcoin.
Surprise, guys. Surprise. Whoa. Gotta have these, guys, I'm sorry, gotta have these glasses on. These lights kill my eyes. But anyway, let's talk a little bit. If you're awake, if you're around, let's see. Whoa, these lights, man. Wow. All right. What's going on, guys? Bitcoiners, supporters, traders, haters, all of you, welcome. Open to questions here. Let's talk about our favorite topic here. I know it might be a little bit late for some of you. I haven't done one of these late Q&A sessions in quite some time, so I think it's time for one. Yeah, it's time for one. Let's do it. Grab the beverage of your choice if you've got some time. Let's go. Yeah. Calvin says, Oliver, save me from the X-FUD. Yeah. It's interesting here, guys. I'll try without these. It's interesting that, I feel as though this is deja vu, I remember last cycle, just around this time, August, September, it's 2020. You're several months after the halving, and the hoopla around the halving has obviously died down. And, the narratives that, well, I guess this halving was ultimately a failure for Bitcoin. It can't move. Nothing bullish is having an effect. This time is different. I swear to you, I'm hearing almost verbatim. It's almost as if these people are going back 4 years ago and finding the same comments and just regurgitating them. It's really quite fascinating. And one of the things that, it's difficult to keep pounding the same thing. And there's always new people coming in and out. So, I find myself in this scenario where I've addressed so many things so many different times, but how many times do I need to do that? And one of the things that I've pounded the table on many times is that I've tried to share how markets assimilate things over time. A bullish event does not have a material effect on the market right away. Never. Now, I'm not saying that market players don't hear something positive and react at the moment. Some of them do. But I mean, that's a temporary phenomenon that usually gets flushed out of the market immediately. I remember in 2020 hearing, but I don't understand. There's good news after good news after good news on Bitcoin, and it's not moving. What gives? And, I know when I speak here, I'm not speaking to a lot of financially sophisticated people. That is just not X. It's not. I'm sorry. So I realize that, and I try to always understand that these people don't really know markets, most of the people. But what I try to share is my market knowledge over 40 years and my understanding that it typically takes anywhere in most markets between 6 and 18 months to see a material effect from a positive event in the market take hold for real. So there's always this lag. And I find that most people still get this wrong. They're under this impression that something good should produce a material effect right now, and something bad should produce a material effect right now. This simply is just not life. That's like expecting I plant a seed right now and I plant an acorn right now and I expect a freaking oak tree right now. That's just not how the world works. There is a 6 to 18 month lag. Now, with the lag with Bitcoin is actually a little less. So I would say if I had to pick a point, 9 months. If I had to pick one time frame, every positive thing that you see or hear happening in Bitcoin, you'll see a material effect. If it's real, you'll see a material effect on Bitcoin or through Bitcoin 9 months later. It's really kind of 6 to 9, 12 months. But if I had to pick one time frame, it's 9 months. And so it's very much like planting a seed. You can't expect it to sprout or see the miracle that's happening until 9 months later. Or it's like conceiving a child. The birth doesn't happen right away after conception. It's a 9 month lag. This is all over life. And markets are not immune to the natural forces of life. It's just the way it is. And I remember this narrative constantly being repeated in 2020. And I was flabbergasted at the time at how many people just didn't understand. It doesn't work that way. You hear Russia's adopting Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as an alternative form of payment to get around US dollar sanctions. Okay, that's good. But you won't see a material effect of that for 9 months later down the line. And all of these things sort of culminate to a point where if there's a period of time where you've heard this, well, this is happening, and Apple is doing Apple Pay, and and the Russians are doing this, and this, and that, all of a sudden, 9 months, a year later, all of these dominoes just start falling. And then during that period, people don't understand, like, oh my God, why is Bitcoin so relentless? Why does nothing negative affecting it? It's just up and to the right and up and to the right. And there's almost no letting up. It's like, what gives? And it's because Bitcoin at that particular period is experiencing a lot of the stuff that was happening underneath the ground, in the womb, as you will, 9 months before. And so, as a professional market player, I understand this lag. And this lag does offer enormous opportunities if you understand that markets lag. You understand? Now, this seems like it sort of flies in the face of the truth that markets are largely discounting mechanisms, which means that they anticipate things. But this 9 months is still also anticipatory because the effect you start to see 9 months later, but the real effect is actually much later. It's the anticipation of the enormity of something happening 9 months ago starts 9 months after the announcement. And then the real effect is actually much later. So that 9 month lag is still anticipatory. It's still discounting the future for the most part. And so you have to understand that you have to understand this about markets. These are all seeds that are planted that start to sprout later down the line. And I wouldn't have it any other way because it allows us to prepare. It allows us to stack. It allows us to take advantage and do the right thing inside of that lag. It's a very beautiful thing. It's actually a gift if you understand that. Lullaby me to sleep. There you go. I hope I'm not that boring where you fall asleep on me. All right. All right, guys. Am I Guys, can you hear me? Am I audible here? Testing, testing, testing. It looks like the mic is audible. All right. Am I good? Somebody let me know if I'm good right in the comments. I know I'm operating on somewhat of a lag here, but let me know if you can hear me. Am I audible? Is everything okay? My system says it's okay. Good? All right. Good. Sounds good. Awesome. All right. Good. All right. Questions. Let's see. Let's see what you got here. Let's see what you got here. I know I don't get everyone's comment. I still haven't figured that out, but I do get some of yours. Alejandro is asking, if you're in your perspective, the BRICS will adopt Bitcoin before US, Asia, and Europe. You know, it's hard to say. If I were a betting man, I would say yes. But you know, understand, guys, that any country that controls the supply of its own money is naturally going to be somewhat reluctant to truly embrace Bitcoin the right way, because Bitcoin is the antithesis of money printing. I want you to think about this. Like, give me a moment to try to make you truly understand how amazing this is. Every dollar, every fiat extra dollar, every extra Mexican peso, every extra Japanese yen, every Argentinian peso, every Australian dollar, every British pound, every currency, single one that is printed causes Bitcoin's value to rise. I want you to think about this. It took me 20 seconds to complete that statement. And in those 20 seconds, how many more US dollars, Japanese yen, Argentinian peso, you get the point, Canadian dollars, Australian dollars, British pounds, how many were actually printed in those 20 seconds? And I'm telling you that every new one increases the value of Bitcoin. But listen, 9 months later, you understand the lag? 9 months later, you print $1 today, 9 months later, it increases. It's like a seesaw. I print dollars, I print more dollars now, and it raises Bitcoin's value 9 months later. Every single time there's an extra dollar in the world, Bitcoin's value goes up, because it is actually the opposite. It's the opposite of fiat. You print fiat, Bitcoin goes up. Every single lie by a politician, Bitcoin's value goes up. Every failure in the system, Bitcoin's value goes up. Every wrongdoing, Bitcoin's value goes up. Every mistake, Bitcoin's value goes up. It's literally the opposite of what we really need to free ourselves from. And every move by that system, because Bitcoin is the opposite of it's sort of like the same coin, but it's the opposite. So everything done there increases Bitcoin's value. But 9 months later, there's a lag. So this is truly, it's truly mind-boggling and life-changing when you truly grasp that if fiat currency can only go down, and remember, fiat currencies can only go down. You know, and I know you guys know this, right? Okay, I know you guys know this, but just for the benefit of those who might not be, a few of you might not be aware of this, let me show you something here. Take a look at this. Take a look at this. The average, guys, look at this. All right. The average lifespan of a fiat currency is 27 years. Think about this. There are more fiat currencies in the cemetery today worth zero than there are alive today. They all go to the fiat cemetery in about 27 years, all of them. Now, world reserve currencies like the US dollar, the British pound, that's not the case. All right? That's a little longer. But the ultimate demise, the ultimate resting place is always death every single time. You know how they say the only thing certain in life is death and taxes? Well, we can add this one. The only thing that's certain in life is death, taxes, and the death of every single fiat currency that has ever been created. It's guaranteed to go to zero. Why? Because a man or a group of men are in control of the supply, and those men print extra dollars every single moment of your life. Every new unit drops the value. And this is why you will always see this is the strongest currency, the strongest of all fiat currencies to ever exist. The strongest currency in the world today, this is the strongest fiat currency, is this. That's the strongest one. Do you understand this? Do you understand that this is the strongest one? Right? The strongest. Does this look like a success story? No, right? Does this look like it's going to the cemetery, or does it look like it's going to heaven, that it's thriving, it's doing extraordinarily well? This is all the way back from the early 1900s. This is not the picture of success, people. And every currency must do the same. Now, this is the strongest of them all. There is no currency more powerful than the US dollar. And you're looking at the best of the best. And so, because Bitcoin has no top, because fiat currency has no bottom. And remember, every new unit makes that red line go down more. And I've been speaking here now for 17 minutes. Do you know how many more units in 17, 18 minutes have been printed? Take a look at this. Take a look at this. Take a look. I'll show you. This is freaking amazing. I want you to take a look at this. This is crazy, right? Take a look at this. Wow. Are you kidding me? Just look at this. Just take a few seconds. Look at the upper left-hand corner. Look at how many units are being printed. This is increasing Bitcoin's value 9 months from now. Right now, it's happening right now in your face. Do you understand? It will never stop. This clock that you see running like this will never stop, ever, until it's zero. Wow. And our only safety against this is Bitcoin, because as you lower the value of the dollar, you must raise the value of Bitcoin. Now, another way of looking at this, if I can do this for you, another way of looking at this is this way. Take a look. This is very fascinating, guys. So take a look at this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, I'll show you. Yeah, I'll show you. Let's look at a 5-month chart. And I will show you. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to show you this. This should open a lot of eyes here. So here is a 5-month chart. Every bar represents 5 months of trading. Okay, 5 months of price activity for Bitcoin. That's a beautiful picture. Now it may look like, okay, it's slowing down at the upper right part of it, but remember, this is a log scale. So, you know, it's skewed to make it look smaller as it moves up into the right. But anyway, take a look at this. This is Bitcoin. Look at in the upper left-hand corner, Bitcoin / US dollar. So what you're doing is you're looking at Bitcoin through the eyes of the US dollar. But I've done this before. If we take Bitcoin, if we take the dollar and we look at it through the eyes of Bitcoin, this is what you have. So I want you to understand that the downward picture, this is the dollar's decline against Bitcoin. You understand? Just look at that. That is not the picture of success. This is the dollar's decline against Bitcoin, which means that this is what you're experiencing holding the dollar instead of holding Bitcoin. Now, this is what you're experiencing holding Bitcoin. Wait, you see that? Bitcoin / USD. This is what you're experiencing. Why can't I get this? Huh. Bitcoin. Oh, this is acting really weird here. I'll do it like this. This is what you're experiencing holding Bitcoin instead of dollars. So do you see that this is the mirror opposite? So Bitcoin is the mirror opposite of what dollars are doing. Did it again. DXY Sats USD. There you go. It's the mirror opposite. Every dollar printed causes Bitcoin's value to rise. Do you understand this? Do you understand the enormity of this? And because we know that dollars will never stop being printed ever, 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 until it goes to zero. Just look how many more were printed since the last time I showed you this. This clock will never stop, which means that Bitcoin's value will never stop rising, ever. It's mind-boggling when you really get this. All right? It's mind-boggling. I think this is a good question. Should we trade equities? It depends. So I trade equities every day, but this is my profession, right? So it's no different from if someone were a plumber. You wouldn't ask them, well, should I continue my profession as a plumber now that I have Bitcoin? Of course. That is how you mine this crap here. If you mine this crap, this is crap. So if you are a plumber and that's how you mine this crap to flip into the superior item Bitcoin, then by all means continue to be a plumber. If trading is the craft you use to mine this crap, If trading is the craft you use to mine this crap to flip into Bitcoin, then so be it. If you are looking at playing equities instead of, so you have mined US dollars, and instead of, you don't need these dollars to buy eggs and put gas in your car. You don't need it for that. So this is something that is extra beyond what you need right now. You're saying, okay, do I put that in equities or Bitcoin? It's hands down Bitcoin. Come on. Come on. The average annual gain of equities over the past few decades, you know what it is, right? It's about 7.5%. The annual gain in an entire year of equities has consistently been around 7.5%. That's without dividends. Dividends reinvested, which means that if out of all the stocks that pay dividends, if you assume that you're not going to live off the dividends and you're going to plow the dividends back in, with dividends included, it gets closer to 10%. So maybe 9.8% or something like that with dividends included. So price alone, 7.5% annually, with dividends about 9.8%. So let's call it 10% with dividends. Now, the last decade's been, money has been printed so heavily over the last decade that those numbers are higher, but that's just money printing. The actual annualized gain has really never changed very much, and it is matched money printing. So because money printing or printing the rate of this, guys, you see the rate of that, you see that number moving, the rate of that printing has largely been about 7% to 8% annually. So your asset equities have historically stayed on par with that printing, that red number running, like you said. So 7.5%, 8% money printing, 7.5%, 8% annualized gain in equities. It's just keeping track with money printing. Because money printing this last decade has been statistically higher than all the other decades prior to, not all of them, but most of them, then you now have, okay, if money printing has been closer to 12, 13, 14%, now you have an equity market that's 12, 13, 14% a year. It's not that the equity market is more valuable, it's that the printing that you see here is more rapid. And that's the trick if you don't understand the system. All right. So if there's a choice with money you don't need, does Bitcoin beat 7% a year, 10% a year, 14% a year? Well, of course. I mean, it's enjoyed an annualized CAGR of 213% for most of its life. It's in a completely different galaxy. And so I'm not saying the CAGR is that at the moment, it's lower, but there's just simply no comparison, none whatsoever. So if you are a professional market player, like a professional, lawyer or doctor or plumber or grass cutter, then that's just your profession. Use that to mine dollars. If you're asking me, well, it's not my profession, but I'm just looking for gains, then come on. You're asking me, should I choose the best performing asset the world has ever known, or should I choose something that is by orders of magnitude less? The choice should be obvious, right? The last thing I will say about that is that, remember, every other investment is a promise for more. Every other alternative is a promise for more of this. Let me show you. So when you go into stocks, you're going into stocks to make more of this. Does that make sense? Every other alternative, you're really saying, I want more of this. When you start to understand this, you understand that this is not what I'm after. I should be after this. I should be working for more of this. That's the superior thing. That's the precious thing, right? To work for what will be less every single second of your life. And here it is again, just to make it clear to you. Look at the upper left-hand corner. Look at right under the upper left-hand corner, US federal spending. Look at the dollars being printed in your face live. This is making you poorer, making your dollars worth less. So you going out into the world and going into things that have a promise at the end of more of this doesn't make sense. Going into things that have a promise of more of this does make sense, right? More of that. You understand? So, in essence, your goal should be to find a way to earn dollars, but to quickly switch them here. You earn dollars and you quickly, because they're going to start going down immediately. Before they can go down, you switch them here. Do you understand? So it should look something like your life should really look like this. This is you. I'm going to show you. This is you. You go out into the world. You're forced to work for this bullshit, right? So you work, you produce dollars. Now, these dollars, as soon as you get them, they start going down. But you have to quickly move them here. You have to convert them to BTC. This is what you don't need. You keep what you need for eggs, milk, gas in your car, transportation. You understand? But what you don't need, if you hold on to it long enough, you're going to be susceptible to the printer. So you must switch here. Now, the question is, well, should I switch it to stocks? But stocks get you more dollars. You're still in the trap. You understand? And stocks only rise statistically equal to the money printer. So you're running in place. Nobody wants to run in place. We need to get ahead. All right? Running in place is really losing. Okay? So, it's very difficult to train to try to show people this that have no concept of money, what it is, the effect that the money printer has. All throughout all of history, the individual or group or power that is, or the powers that be, throughout every era in history, those who control the supply of money wind up enslaving those who work for that money. And it has happened 100% of the time. 100% of the time. Those who control the supply of the money, they can print it, wind up enslaving those that have to work for that money. And it has happened every single time in history. And so you are really a slave. That's the bottom line. All right. Um, if considering taking out cash from my home to invest into Bitco, cash poor, house rich, but there are some lucrative dividend plays that can yield me some much needed extra income. Any way to sell covered calls or sell puts on BTC to achieve? All right, it's a bit. This is sort of venturing into murky waters that could get me into trouble because I'm not your financial advisor. I don't know your specific situation. I'm just a guy on the internet, right? What I will say is that, as far as I'm concerned, there is nothing that makes sense other than Bitcoin, more than Bitcoin. There's nothing you can come up with that makes sense. There is nothing anyone else can come up with that makes more sense. It's the best performing asset in virtually every single category you can conjure over almost every time frame. It has completely destroyed everything human beings have ever held dear. It's the only thing that can't be taken, stolen, confiscated, inflated, deflated, debased. It's the only thing that human beings don't control or run in any way. It's the only thing that you can take everywhere with you. Your Bitcoin is literally your word. For the first time, your word is your bond. Bond meaning Bitcoin. My word is my Bitcoin. It's the only thing that is indestructible. It's the only thing that doesn't have a leak. It's the only thing that does not melt over time. It's the only thing that is real. And so all of these other scenarios you come up with, they are extraordinarily inferior to just put it there. Just put it in Bitcoin. I mean, it's not just words. We have every statistic in the world in your face. In your face. 400 million% in 15 years. Like the best performing asset on planet Earth this year, over the last 2 years. Wait until the end of this year. Wait until the end of 2025. There, there just is nothing you can do to even come close to this. Now, if you need income, that's a different story. You know, we still sort of live in a world where we're compelled, upon the threat of being jailed, to work for slave money. We don't give a choice just because we were born in a certain country. We have been assigned a task of working until we die for a money that we did not choose. Just because you were born as an American, you now must go work for America's money. You had no choice in that. You have to work for that. And we saw the picture of America's money. It's not successful. And so, but we have no choice. The only choice to escape that is to go work for that failing money and quickly convert it to the thing that's not failing. The only thing that's not failing is Bitcoin. You might think that that is hyperbole, but it is not. The only thing, people, that's not failing. Now, some people will say, well, Oliver, that's not true. I mean, you know, I'm making money in my 401k. Are you really? Are you really? I don't think so. Let me show you. So let's look at this for a second here. Let's look at this. If I were to show you if I were to show you your NASDAQ priced in Bitcoin, Sats, USD, that is your NASDAQ priced in Bitcoin. So what this picture is telling you, this is truth, is that this is what you're experiencing holding the NASDAQ 100 instead of holding Bitcoin. This is your life. Look at your life. Look at what you're giving your life for. And you're asking me, is it okay to go in stocks or Bitcoin? Well, look, this is stocks. This is the best of them. This is what you're experiencing. I didn't make this up. This is not my charting package. This is real life. This is what you are experiencing, but you're not feeling it. And that's the trick, to make you feel something that's not really true. This is the truth. You're losing, buddy. If I were to do this, I say, well, no, I'm not NASDAQ heavy, Oliver. I'm the S&P, da, 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 da. Okay. Let's look at the SPYs priced in Bitcoin. Now that's your life, holding the S&P 500. This is what you are really experiencing, holding the S&P 500 instead of holding Bitcoin. Now, let's see Bitcoin priced in the SPYs. Let's do it reverse, right? BTC, all right, / SPY. That's what you're experiencing, holding Bitcoin instead of holding the spiders. Want to look at the NASDAQ? NDX. No, I got that wrong. Let me try Sats USD / NDX. No, it doesn't do it. So I have to do it BTC / NDX. And that's what you're experiencing, holding Bitcoin instead of the NASDAQ. You're winning. You're losing holding the NASDAQ or the S&P instead of Bitcoin. And so the trick is to not let, the trick is to have you not look at the item that you are working for and putting your life into through the eyes of the strong thing. They want you to look through the eyes of the weak thing. You see, the NASDAQ through the eyes of the dollar looks very powerful. Let me show you. That's the NASDAQ through the eyes of the dollar. That's very impressive. Do you understand? So as long as you view the NASDAQ through the weak item, what's the weak item? Let me show it to you again. Remember, don't forget what the weak item is. This is the weak item. You're using the weak to judge something. So you're using this failing item to judge something else. As long as you use the weak item to judge the item, to judge something, you are going to get a picture that's strong because the item that you're looking through is weak. So it will give, the weak will give everything the false picture of strength. But when you look at the item through, so when you, again, this is looking at the item through the weak, okay? This is through the eyes of the weak. You're looking at the NASDAQ through the eyes of the weak dollar. Now, if you say, let's see how NASDAQ holds up against the strong NDX, Sats USD, it doesn't hold up against the strong. So you're being fed the wrong picture. You're not being fed the right picture. You're being tricked into believing that you're winning, and you're not winning. Just look at this chart. You're not winning. It's hard for some people to get this. It really is. All right. Every Eddie says, how face melting is this rally to 225 is going to be, Oliver? It's going to be so hated. Yeah, I mean, everyone is. Everyone is. Last cycle, when we were right where we are now, so remember, Bitcoin is really an asset you should look at 4 years to 4 years to 4 years. Everything else in between is noise. So when you look at Bitcoin this way, you're not fooled. That volatility doesn't fool you, which is really the volatility of the US dollar, not Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not volatile. The picture's volatile through the eyes of the US dollar, but the item itself is not volatile at all. You understand? You're watching the movie of the dollar, not the movie of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not volatile, has zero volatility. But let's not even go there at the current moment. At the point is that when you look at Bitcoin correctly, you understand that the only US dollar price that matters is every 4 years. Let's say the halving price. It's the only thing that matters. All of what it does in between doesn't matter. You understand? So, for instance, 4 years ago today, let's take a look at this. Let me show you. This is cool. Check this out. So let's go here. Let me show you this. Let me give me a second here. I want to show you this. This is how you keep yourself sane. You understand? I'm going to take, now let me get the chart up there for you. Check this out. Smoke on this, guys. Check this out. So what is today? This is September 2nd, because it's after midnight now, right? Okay, so September 2nd, 2024. I told you 4 years to 4 years. Let's go back to September 2nd, 2020. That's 4 years ago. So the price today, right now, is that 56? No, the price right now is what? 57,500. That's the price right now. Now let's go 4 years ago. Same date, September 2nd. September 2nd. Oh, it's right here. All right, so it's a week. So anyway, what's the price? 10,100. Guys, 4 years ago on the same date, 10,000. We're 50,000 4 years later. Let's go 4 years before this, 2016, September 2nd. $585. 590. Do you see this? Guys, think about this. 4 year periods. We went from 585 to 10,000. 10,000 to 57,000. 57,000. 2028 is what? 500,000? 600? Do you understand? Everything in between 4 years doesn't matter. Do you understand? It's just 4 years to 4 years to 4 years to 4 years, forever, for your entire life. It's freaking mathematically guaranteed. It's the closest thing to certainty we have ever had in anything that we've had access to. It's maths. Every 4 years, there's more demand. Every 4 years, the supply issuance get cut in half. That's a mathematical guarantee for number go up. And I made this post the other day, just today. Well, we're in the next day, but just a few hours ago. And the post read something like, unpopular idea, unpopular fact, but it's a fact. Bitcoin doesn't need adoption for the number to go up. No. Bitcoin became the best performing asset the world has ever known in all of human history without adoption. Think about that. You can't say 0.5%, half of 1%'s adoption. That's not freaking adoption. Come on. Give me a break. Bitcoin became the best performing asset the world has ever known in all of human history with zero adoption, practically zero. Number go up doesn't need adoption. Medium of exchange needs adoption. But store of value doesn't need adoption. If not a single extra human being ever adopted Bitcoin, every 4 years it would go up forever. Forever. Just with us. That's freaking mind-blowing. The adoption just benefits down the line the morphing into medium of exchange. But the world doesn't need a medium of exchange right now. That doesn't solve the majority of the world's problems right now. The world has a saving problem. The world has a, how do I retain the value of my life and not have it withered away by no action or choice of my own? Where do I store this so that no one can steal it, take it, debase it, make it less? Where can I put it in safekeeping? Where can no other human being ever touch it? That's every human being in the world has that problem. But buying a freaking Twinkie donut? Oh yeah, buying a coffee. The world needs to buy coffee with Bitcoin. That doesn't solve anything. Oh yeah, I can use Bitcoin in Costco. What? Like, you have a savings problem, bro. The groceries, you worked 3 hours a week to buy your groceries for the whole week. It cost you 3 hours of work to buy your groceries for your family for the week. Next year is going to cost you 4 hours of work to buy the same shit, the same eggs, the same milk, the same lettuce, the same Wonder Bread, if that you eat that nonsense. This is the world's problem. Can I put it somewhere and know that not only is the value going to be retained, it's going to go up every 4 years. So the world has a store value problem. It doesn't have a medium of exchange problem. I mean, I'm not saying there's zero problem on the medium of exchange side, but that's not what addresses every human being has a security and a storage problem. And Bitcoin right now is here and ready to solve that problem for the entire world. Medium of exchange can come later. So my point in saying all of this is to say this once again: Bitcoin doesn't need adoption for number go up for store value. It needs adoption down the line for medium of exchange. That can wait. We need store value now. Where do I store my life? Where do I protect my life? I gave my 40 hours of my life, and now I get this back. This is my 40 hours of my life. Now, where do I save it? How do I keep it from being stolen, withered away, debased? How do I prevent it from being less? Because if I let this 40 hours of dollars go less, that's my life becoming less. I'm losing my life. These are 40 hours worth of dollars. This is 40 hours of my life. I gave my life for this. And this life is in the hands of 12 men in suits smoking cigars in a back room. They make it go down every year. They set the price of this. They own me, you know? And Bitcoin's the escape from that bullshit. But every 4 years, do you see that jump, guys? Do you see it every 4 years? I'm not making those numbers up. And I'm telling you, 585 to 10,181 to 57,250. You see those jumps every 4 years? That's your life expanding. Bigger, stronger, better, more powerful, wealthier, more independent, more free every 4 years until you die. Nothing does that except Bitcoin. It's powerful. I freaking love it, man. I love it, man. What else you got, guys, for me? Saying there is no medium of exchange problem is from a place of privilege. Many people need a medium of exchange now. I can't say that no one needs a medium of exchange. There are certain pockets in the world that can use a better medium of exchange, of course. But the bigger problem that even those people have is a savings problem. You see, if you are living moment to moment without, if you are not incentivized to save, because the money that you are forced to work for becomes less tomorrow, and then less the next day, and then less the next day, then you are not incentivized to save. And so you live your whole life storing nothing. Because why would you store something that penalizes you for storing it? Okay, it's $5 now, tomorrow's $4. And the next day is $3. And the next day is $2. So in a scenario like that, you don't save and you just become a spender. This is what the world wants. The controllers of the money supply want you to spend your life away. They don't want you to save. That's why it's punitive to save in every fiat currency in the world. I showed you the best one is declining. That's the best one. The others are declining faster. So the incentive is to not save. Don't save. So you are not incentivized to save your life, because remember, the money you make is your life. You give 40 hours of work, you get pay. This pay, which is now starting to instantly go down in value, is your life going down in value. But if you had an ability to move it to a place where it stopped going down and actually started going up, everyone in the world has that problem. That is not coming from privilege. That is coming from monetary fact. And the world becomes very ugly when the world is not incentivized to save. The world becomes very ugly. There is no investment. There is no honor in anything. There is no sacrifice in anything. It doesn't pay. There's nothing, anything that takes time, which most beautiful things take, is not respected anymore because time loses my value. It's a wonder. It's not by mistake that great things aren't built today, like cathedrals and the way things were structured. When it took time to do it that special, today time is penalized because your money is a melting ice cube. That is not privilege. That is not privilege. That is a monetary fact. Every human being needs storage. Everyone, even if it's for a week. Every human being needs a money that can't be touched by another human being, stolen, confiscated by another human being. Every human being needs a money that is not influenced by any human being, organization, or government. Every human being needs that. Whether you are poor or super rich, everyone needs that. All right. I guess I'm getting my comments the opposite way. Sailor bought 3.7 billion at a blended interest rate at 1.5. That's crazy. It's practically free money. It's got the infinite money glitch, right? Turning the system on its head. That's very powerful. Very, very powerful. Yeah. Well, of course, and you can too. And just taking those numbers and doing the simple math to math. But 585 to 10,180, from 10,180 to 57,250. Now, where is the next 4 years from 57? 600,000, 400,000, 500,000, 300, whatever. What I do know is that it's directionally up. Now, we get over zealous about trying to come up with a specific number. And I think this can really serve as a trap. It's entertaining, but it can also serve as a trap because the number is not important. The direction is important. You don't have to have the number to set your life up forever. You don't need to get that one right. You can get the number wrong and still set your life up forever if you get the direction right. We are directionally right. 4 years from today, September 2nd, 2028, 57,000 will be so far in the dust, it won't even be freaking funny. That is all we need to know. What number is not important. You see, those are kind of childish, video game-ish things. Numbers not important. Direction's important. If we are it only takes being right directionally, and you can set your life up forever. Let me give you an example of this. Someone says, look, here's a lottery ticket. You can only cash this lottery, you can only bring this lottery ticket in, right? 4 years from now. Now, this lottery ticket is worth 57,000 today. But 4 years from now, it will be worth a lot more. I can't tell you how much more, but a lot more. Now, if you want, you can even make that bet pay off more by just getting more lottery tickets. Guaranteed to be a lot more. I can't tell you the number. Now, assuming that I'm going to be able to cash this for a lot more than 57. I don't know how much more, but it's a lot. But the exact number, I don't know. All right. Wouldn't you go to work at just trying to get as many lottery tickets as possible just to make that one-time bet life-changing? Right. I'm just saying, if you could be convinced that it's absolutely guaranteed, that it's a lot more, what's not guaranteed is the exact number. But you would spend your whole life for 4 years getting as many lottery tickets as you can to wheelbarrow those lottery tickets in on September 2nd, 2028. And that's what we should be doing in between these 4 years. I don't know what September 2nd, 2028's number is. What I know is that it's a lot more than 57,250. A lot more. Well, Oliver, how do you know? That is what it has been every single time in the past. So every single time in the past, Monday follows Sunday. Well, how do you know next week Monday is going to follow Sunday, Oliver? Because it always has. How do you know? But really, how do you know? Bitcoin is maths. What I can guarantee is that there's 0.5% of the world has Bitcoin today. 4 years from now, that number is not negative. That's not less than 0.5%. It's more than 0.5%. 4 years from today. That I can guarantee you. What I can also guarantee you is that 4 years from today, the issuance is in half, cut in half. That's guaranteed. Demand up, issuance in half. It's impossible for it not. Impossible. It's maths. Good day, mate. I saw your video today. You were on vacation. Where are you vacationing? I saw that beautiful water in the background, Sean. Powerful. Powerful. Hmm. Can you explain in simple terms how options can be used to generate cash flow off one's Bitcoin? Well, so NASDAQ has sought approval for options on basically Bitcoin, Bitcoin Index, right? So you will be able to use option strategies on the Bitcoin Index to either generate income or hedge against your Bitcoin stash. You know, these are things that I think should be left to professionals, but they're going to be there as tools for those who know how to do it. This cycle's bear turn will have many more tools that help astute Bitcoiners to soften the blow of the Bitcoin drop and maybe even turn the Bitcoin drop into profits instead of being a negative. You've got MicroStrategy and the options on MicroStrategy to use. You're going to have options on the ETFs. You're going to have options on a Bitcoin index, spot index. These are amazing tools that can be used for income generation. And those people who own ETFs can use a covered call strategy and things of that nature at the right time to generate income. But they don't come without risk. So my concern is that most people really fuck things up. And so they're just not astute enough. And most people will ultimately still probably wind up with less Bitcoin. They'll get their Bitcoin called away. They'll get knocked out of the box because they did too much leverage. And, the simple thing is just always dollar cost average, stack and hold, and use the down drafts to stack harder. You see, the downward moves set your life up for the next 4 years, set you up to be wealthier the next 4 years later. Not the next 4 days, not the next 4 weeks, the next 4 years. Remember, this is a 4-year guarantee. And if you can live your life in these 4-minute, 4-year slices forever, you can really change the trajectory of your progeny, the trajectory of your bloodline. And it's not complex. It's simple. You've got to get to a place also where you use Bitcoin as your unit of account and stop using the US dollar as your unit of account, because using the US dollar, as I showed you, can trick you into thinking something that's false. I showed you what's false. That picture of the NASDAQ and the S&P going up, that's false, because if you look at it through the eyes of Bitcoin, it's not going up. False. And so that picture of the US dollar showing Bitcoin going down, Bitcoin's not going down. That's false. The way I judge things is I am richer 4 years from today with every Bitcoin purchase. I don't care what it does next week, next month, next quarter. I just know the Bitcoin I bought today, I'm wealthier because of this purchase 4 years from today. Guaranteed. And every purchase makes me richer, wealthier, more independent, freer 4 years from that purchase. Every single time, forever. And those who shrink that time frame and start looking hour to hour, minute to minute, week to week, and month to month, and day to day, they're the ones that get off track. But if you can think, I just bought Bitcoin today, I just made myself wealthier 4 years from now. Guaranteed. Every purchase makes me wealthier. Every purchase makes me bigger. Every purchase sets my family and me up to be better. Every single one 4 years from today. And that's all you need to know. It's very powerful, right? It's very powerful. Let's see if I can show you this. Look at let me see if I can find this. Yeah, here it is. I got it. I got it. Look at this. Take a look at this. Give me a second. You see? Oh. You see it? That is the price of Bitcoin every 4 years on its halving day. So we started at 0 in 2009, right? 0 to 12. Wow. That's enough to set your life up forever. Do you understand? Forever, guys. 12 to 653. Do you know what kind of gain that is? That's a life-changing gain. 653 to 8,568. 8,568. Well, this was not the price of the halving of 4. That's a mistake. I thought the price was around 61,000. That number's wrong. But the halving date, this halving date, I think was around 61,000. So 8,000 to 61,000, So now 61,000, the next 4-year halving is what? 400? 500? You understand? All of the in between, guys, is noise. This is noise to knock you out of the best performing thing humans have ever had access to. It's designed to knock you out. The noise in between these dots, you should just be stacking and ignoring everything until the next dot appears on this chart 4 years from now in 2028. Want to make your life completely different forever? Start working for the next dot. Go to work, stack harder for the next dot that shows up. See these white dots? The next dot is in 2028. We don't have to know the number. We just have to know that we've got the direction right. That's enough to change your life forever. That's right, Sean. No trading Bitcoin, just trade everything else for Bitcoin. That's it. Nagesh. Oh, guys, we can start. We can start. Nagesh is here. We were waiting. We can start now. Thank you for showing up, Nagesh. I'm teasing. Yeah. All right. All right, guys. Last message. Your time is limited. All right, your time is limited. I've tried to remind you over and over again that everything is normal that's happening right now. Everything is normal that is happening right now, people. Every goddamn thing. Let me show you. Let me show you. Every goddamn thing. So you see that the halving last year was here. I don't know, it was like around, I don't know, it was May, something like around here or something like that. That's the halving last year. You see after the halving, it didn't really do much. Now, it popped up, then came back down for the most part, went sideways, but it's not until here that it starts, right? Now, what is that? Can we see what that is? Where is this? What is this? Let's take a look. That is, look at the date, October. Nothing until October. Just look at it. Every goddamn year, every goddamn halving is the same. But Bitcoin is not doing anything. I mean, really, if you think about it, here is until from what? From May, you come right down here to September, you're basically at the same price. So you went a little bit below. Look, check this out. You went a little bit below, a little bit above, all the way back. A lot of sound and fury signifying nothing. Sound familiar? And it's not until October that we take off. That's October. Look at it. Just look at it. I got the cursor right on it. Look at the date at the bottom, October. All right. Now let's go to now. All right. Oh, sorry. I'm going to go to now. Here's the halving. It is April 19th, more or less. Okay. Is it more or less right here, right? So here, right? So look, let's do it. Here's a halving. Same shit. Down, up, down, up, down, up. It's basically the same. And we're coming, here's October, right here. This is your freaking window of time. You got this little space. I'm going to do it in a different color now. You got this friggin' space left. You better get to work. Because this is blast off time. Every goddamn time. Do you understand me? Nothing is different. Well, there are some things different. That Bitcoin is right up close to its all-time high. Guys, it was never like this. So Bitcoin is stronger than it ever has been. Look at the last halving. Check this out. This is really phenomenal. So remember I said you the last halving was in May of 2020, right? So the last halving was here. Check this out. Last halving. Boom. Now, I want you to look at where this is. I'm going to put a circle there. Put a circle there. Wait, why can't I put a circle there? See that circle? Now look at this. Where is the prior high? Look at where the prior high is. Let's do it like that. Look at the circle and look at the prior high. Look how far under the prior high you are at the halving point. Oh, I'm sorry about that. You see that? So you're way off the prior high. Now, if we go to this halving, look at the prior high. Now, look at the halving. Look at the space. Do you see the difference? We're right near the prior high at the halving, and we're still right there, more or less. And last time, look how far away from the prior high we were. Look at the length of this arrow. And look at the length of this arrow. You can't even freaking see it. This is the best performing halving in all of Bitcoin's history. So if it's bumping right up there against the past cycle's high, which it has never done, when it blasts off, I think the blast off is going to be like it's never done. I think it's going to freaking shock the world. Do you see this? Do you understand what I just pointed out to you? Do you see how this is very different from the past halvings? That we've never been right here this close to the prior cycle high. We've never been up this high. at the halving and after the halving. Never. We've always been more than 100% below, 100% or more below, and we're right up there still. Do you understand? Somebody let me know you understand this. Can you hear me? Can you read the words? Can you hear the words coming out of my mouth? Do you see this? Somebody let me know. Nobody's freaking typing. Everybody's asleep. You understand? Good. It's crazy. Oliver, what's wrong with Bitcoin? What do you mean what's wrong with it? It's the best halving ever. Yeah, but it keeps going down. Going down where? That's not down. That's freaking up. It's resting like it always does after halving. Until October, every time. But this time it's resting right up against the prior cycle high. It's never done that ever. That's right. You got maybe 1 month left, month and a half tops. So I'm always telling you, think presidential election time. Think that by the time presidential election time comes around, Bitcoin should be freaking smoking. Around that time, it should be smoking. If history's any guide, and it is. All right, guys. All right, nobody wants to talk to me. You guys are boring. Okay. All right, go to bed. Those of you who are in my time frame, go to bed. All right, enjoy the rest of your day. You know, markets are closed. U.S. markets are closed tomorrow, Labor Day, or today, I should say, Labor Day. So no trading for me tomorrow, no market play for me tomorrow. Maybe I'll hop on and do a live with you if you guys want. But yeah, so maybe I'll hop on with you tomorrow, maybe a little bit. We'll see. Anyway, all right, enjoy your night, enjoy your day, your evening, wherever you're in the world. You know what to do. You got a month and a half tops. Stack harder. Go to work. Boom. My name is Oliver Velez, and I am your 13%er Bitcoiner. Be safe out there, and until next time. Boom.